You can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious!
Well, I suppose I couldn't hear anything then. Is this just working? Hey?
I could hear it.
You could hear it?
Yeah, coming from here.
Yeah, good on you. Well, my headphones, that's right, mine are on the chair about a metre away. That's anyhow, now, as people know who listen to this podcast I'm only just partially educated, and I speak to lots of people who I really have no idea what I'm talking about. If ever there is a chat I'm about to have where I have no idea what I'm talking about, this is it. But I'm always not proud enough not to be educated and be told a few home truths and how life works. And to that end, I have sitting opposite me a person. Won't say she's a woman, won't say she's a man, I'll just say she's a person because that's how we operate these days. Her name is Aisha Paris Smith. And she has 4 initials after her name. She's an ACSB. I have no idea what that means, but I'm about to introduce her, and she is called a somatic, which is a word I hadn't heard of, but I looked it up, a somatic sexologist. I looked up sexologist in the dictionary. There's no such word. So on that basis, I'm welcoming Aisha Paris Smith, ACSB, a somatic sexologist, to You Cannot Be Serious. Aisha, welcome.
Thank you, Sam.
Aisha.
Yes.
Right. Just enlighten me with ACSB.
Yeah, so that's an accredited and certified sexological body worker.
An accredited and certified. And do you have a certificate for that?
Yes, I do, yes.
Who are the judges that hand out the certificates?
That is the head of what was called the C School.
The what?
The SEA school in the UK.
Oh, SEA.
And now they've become the Institute of Relational Harmony Studies, and they're based in Portugal.
The Institute of Relational Harmony Studies.
Yes.
Holy Jesus. Well, that's fantastic. Why are you, I presume you're not an Australian, why are you here in Oz?
Well,
how come you came? Did you come out just to see our great country, or are you on
to-
assignment?
I'm on assignment.
Are you?
Yeah, so...
That was a throwaway line. You're actually here on assignment.
Yeah. I have many clients around the world, and one of my Australian clients invited me over to do 6-day retreat with them.
God almighty. One of your Australian clients has flown you out here to perform your somatic sexologist degree on them, him, her, they.
Yes, exactly.
Fantastic. And where are you going to take them to a retreat somewhere?
I mean, it's complete. I've completed.
You've done it?
Yeah.
Oh,
and
wow.
I do many of these, like people... Sex is such a huge topic in people's lives, and they don't often speak about it, let alone work on it. And so when they come to me, I found that 75 minutes doesn't really do anything. That's the sort of time you take to speak with your therapist. And so I tried 2.5 hours, and that's better. We get more done there. But there are just so many things that come up for people. And so then I extended into day retreats and now multi-day retreats. And it allows people to go into an area that feels really uncomfortable.
We'll get into those areas just directly. I believe I'm the only person that's ever said this, because I made this up and I didn't hear it from anyone else, and it wasn't subliminally in the back of my brain. But I said to someone many years ago, the 4 most powerful things in the world in this order are sex, money, power, and charisma. Sex runs the world. Doesn't matter how you top and tail it. It runs the world in politics, in commerce, in sport, in entertainment. It is the driving force. Whether you're are you a biological woman?
I am.
Right, good. Just in case, it wouldn't matter if you weren't.
Thank you for checking.
If you're a trans person, it wouldn't matter. But I'd have a whole lot of different questions to ask you. So doesn't matter how you identify or what a sex is the most powerful thing in the world, and it has run nations and brought them down. And I don't know anyone else that's said those four things in that order. But so you came out here. Where do you start with this? All right. When did you realise?
Take a breath.
Yeah. I'm not going to ask you how old you are, but how old are you?
I'm 33.
Right. So when did you realise that this was a vocation? At what age did you realise this is my go? I'm going to be a sexologist.
Oh, okay. Well, this is an interesting question because I went into and discovered conscious sexuality about 8 years ago, almost 9 years ago. And that was just my own personal journey, exploring my personal erotic life and relationship to the sexual parts of my body. And then 4 years later, I was like, I need to do this. I was at a friend's wedding in Kenya, and it was, so beautiful. One of my best friends getting married to someone who's wonderful. They have a wonderful relationship. And it was a very moving, actually it was a week long, so everyone really got to know each other. And I said, as much as I love weddings, like, I don't know that monogamy really works in the way that people want it to, because people don't take care of their sex life.
They stray.
Well, yeah, they stray, but they stray because a need's not getting met.
Because they're after. Yeah, men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Men are liars and women are schemers.
I don't believe that.
If ever there's been a truism in the world, men are liars and women are schemers. Men will lie to have sex with anyone, and women will do it as long as there's something in it for them.
Okay. Interesting. I mean,
thank you.
There's a study and it says that men underestimate the impact or the consequences of lying.
They do, absolutely.
Yeah.
They throw their whole business and life and house away for lying,
totally.
Cheating.
And there's another study that says men's biggest fear is being laughed at by a woman. And so I can imagine that they want to come across well and they're trying to do things to avoid rejection. And when we don't have education and conscious, healthy strategies for getting needs met, like sex and connection and intimacy and touch, then we have to do sort of more deceptive ways. So
women have giggled at me all my life, particularly when I've taken my clothes off. So I'm used to it. I'm used to women laughing at me.
How does that make you feel?
Well, inadequate, but you box on, you push on in life, and take the good with the bad. You said that you discovered your conscious sexuality, or discovered your. What does that mean, as opposed to being unconscious?
Well, I would say that most people are unconsciously sexual. They've just taken on the conditioning of their environment and the modeling from their parents about sexuality, and from Hollywood movies and from songs. That's how they've learned about sex, and so they sort of are going in blind, and ignorant. And so being consciously sexual is choosing to embody the sexual and erotic parts of yourself and your body.
I could be your best student here. I'm all those things that you said: naive, unconscious, not capable. So, when did you become sexually active?
Oh, good question.
Is it?
Yeah, it's totally a good question.
Were you in your teens, or?
Yeah, I was in my teens. Although it wasn't.
Was there anyone present when you became sexually active, or did you do it yourself?
I mean, if I'm super honest, I started masturbating when I was 5.
5?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I remember.
Do you?
Yeah, absolutely. Shit. It was a big. I don't remember much from my childhood, but I remember that. And then I became relationally sexually active when I was 14, and I was dating someone much older than me. And they
hang on, you were 14, you were dating someone much older than, how much older?
5 years, 19.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's nothing bad.
Nothing, yeah.
And so they sort of initiated me, which is how, for a lot of women, they enter into sex with a partner. Like, the partner is encouraging them there. Huh?
You didn't enter into sex with a partner. You said you were masturbating when you were
Exactly.
5.
Yes, and no, that's actually true for a lot of people. And there is.
Please don't think. Did you make yourself come when you were 5 by masturbating?
No, but I.
Is that the most? That's the
But you
most
can.
important part of sex, isn't it?
Orgasm? No,
It's not.
not for me. No.
No, well, not for you. But for
Well,
most people, most men try to make women
Yes, but
come,
that
and most women want men to come, or they think either party is inadequate.
Yeah, but
Don't they?
a man can't make someone orgasm. Their body orgasms as a result of.
Well, that's one and the same thing, surely,
No.
Aisha. What?
Because when you say that a man needs to make a woman orgasm, it puts a ton of pressure on the man to perform, and it doesn't invite the woman to check in on herself with, do I know how I like to be touched? Am I relaxed? Have I communicated all the things that I need in order to feel pleasure in this moment? Can I ask for what I want? You know, like giving some ownership back to say, like, to create space to say, you know, will you kiss me slowly from my mouth down to my
Genitals?
yeah?
Or will you speak dirty?
Like how could for instance I know what would pleasure you without asking you, without finding out about your body?
Oh, I see.
Even me as a sex coach, and maybe because I'm a sex coach and I get to experience so many different people and their unique sexual expression, there are some things that I love and I think, oh, everyone's going to love this. And they don't. They find it irritating, that kind of touch. It's partly about our nervous system state. And it's also partly about, like, for instance, slow, soft touch, which is what a lot of people think of.
Therapeutic.
No, more like tantric, you know?
Oh, tantric.
Yeah.
Yes.
So in Tantra, people will have sex for 2 hours or 3 hours or the day, you know? It just can go on and on and on. And in most people's lives, probably in Australia and also in the UK, it's very fast, quick sex. You know, people might masturbate and come to orgasm in 5 minutes. They might have sex in 7 minutes, you know? It's very, very, very fast. And that's because they're stressed and they're upregulated, and that's what feels comfortable for them.
So you said, you made me. So isn't it a bit clinical when you meet someone to say, well, now look, we've had dinner and we come home and have a drink, have a bit of a nightcap. Just before we maybe get into some pleasurable activity, what do you like? Do you like me to stroke your breasts or kiss you or touch you, or do you like me to rub your bottom, or what? Isn't that a bit clinical and sort of planned? Shouldn't it be for the people doing it, to discover what each other likes by trial and error? I mean, or do you think you should have it written down? Now, look, here's a list. I want you to touch my tits first, and then I want you to rub my stomach, and if you wouldn't mind, put your head in between my legs after about 10 minutes. And that's how I reckon we should go.
Well, that's very prescriptive.
Thank you.
And sex is the best.
I didn't mean to say tits. I meant to say breast. I'm not turning
I'm not
this into a.
offended.
I know I'm offended. I'm not turning this into a piss take or anything. I'm genuinely interested in this.
Okay, so
for obvious reasons.
First up, I really like talking about sex before I get to the bedroom with someone.
Yes.
To ask them, you know, like, how do you?
Yeah.
What do you enjoy?
Yeah,
in
no,
sex?
that's fair enough.
So that creates some level of intimacy and openness, and starts to give you hints about, you know, what someone might like, so that you don't have to be directed like from A to B to C to D. And then the other piece is, like, when you do arrive together.
Arrive together?
Yeah,
Is that come together, you mean?
No, I mean, like, when you enter into that erotic moment together.
Yes, arrive, yep.
When, like, you're starting to make love or have sex or become intimate, then you want to follow the feeling. You want to be present. And a lot of people are in their heads. And actually, that's one of the biggest issues across the board for the people who come to see me is they're thinking about sex up here rather than feeling it in here.
Yep, they get stage fright.
They get stage fright, and they also think there's a right way and a wrong way. And if you can just be present in your body, then and you are present with the other person's body, then it just kind of like can spontaneously unfold in the most satisfying way. And yes, there can be some directive, but it can be shown rather than spoken. And there's also something about, if you are going to ask, then ask erotically. You know, how would you like me to kiss you? Where would you like to be touched?
I find it hard to look at you. I find it hard to look at you. You're starting to hypnotise me. It's extraordinary. Maybe you do hypnotise people, and you can. No, Aisha. So, did you tell me when you decided this was your vocation?
Yes.
I know you said at 5 you were having a, and then when did you? And you went to a wedding.
Yeah. So I went to the wedding.
How old were you?
How old was I?
Then. How old were you when
29.
So you decided this is your. So you said so you've only been doing this for 4 or 5 years.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
I'm asking. Have you?
Yeah.
Well, shit.
Yeah.
That's extraordinary.
But you know, it's what's crazy about it is I had this other career before, and then I did this training.
Which was what?
I managed brands in the organic and natural food world. So
right, good.
Yeah, it was very good. I really cared about it, and actually, the whole point of that work was to help people have a better quality of life by better determining what they're putting in their body and how. And I'm still doing that. You know.
Do you have a partner?
I don't have a partner right now. No.
Right now, would it be a man or a woman, or it wouldn't matter?
Either.
You've had either partners of both sexes?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's satisfying. That, of course, or you wouldn't do it.
Exactly.
And you have neither a heterosexual or I suppose you're a bisexual, aren't you? Obviously,
I'm actually a pansexual.
Pan.
Yeah.
Now that's an interesting word, a pansexual. I only saw a woman in a. It was on YouTube. No, it wasn't on YouTube. It was on TikTok. It was a big, large woman who said that she was a pansexual, and the comment underneath, yes, as long as she's got a pan with food in it, that's what she is. So
wow.
what is a pan? Of course, they're making fun of her size.
Yeah,
What is a pansexual?
A pansexual is someone who basically isn't attracted to a specific gender. They're just attracted to people.
Yeah, is that what that is?
Yeah.
Like Pan Am Airways that fly all over the world.
Yeah.
They are attracted to anyone who'll get on their plane.
Totally.
So I took a quote out of one of your bios. I think it said, you find it, you have a profound experience of being in a body. That's what I don't understand what that means. A profound experience of being in your body. Yeah. What? You're looking at me as though, man, does this person need some help here? What does that mean? A profound experience of being in my body.
Oh, do you know what? No one's ever pulled out that sentence to me before, and I love it. I love it so much. It's like it's really at the core of what this work is about for me. Your
friend here, Nathan, said, so I looked you up. So how else would I know? In fact, I'm not sure that I've asked you anything that I've got out of so far, but how else would I know that you said that? And I thought, that's interesting. I'm not sure. The profound experience of being in your body, I have no idea how you could have any other experience, but maybe you have a diverse or lateral or obscure definition of that.
Okay, so when I was growing up, there was a lot of violence and trauma going on. So when I was in my teens and I left home, I developed an eating disorder, which made it really, really, really excruciating for me to be in my body. And then
I see.
And I did lots of different things to try and get back on good terms with my body and to feel well in body, mind, and spirit. And I mean, along with that came a lot of depression and a lot of social anxiety. And I was working so hard on it, like I want to get back. And it was only when I was discovering conscious sexuality that I got better, like spontaneously, like out of nowhere, just suddenly.
Conscious sexuality.
Yeah, so conscious sexuality, at the time what I was studying was Tantra. So this is
Yes.
Learning. So this is
Sort of know what Tantra is. Yes.
okay. So if I give you a really quick insight into Tantra, in yoga there are two paths. There's the ascetic path, where you go towards enlightenment by restricting things and sacrificing things. And in the tantric path, you go towards enlightenment by following your desires and using the energy that that creates to sublimate it and to manifest what you want. And so in tantric sex, it's about being really conscious about what we want, going towards it and allowing ourselves to receive it. You know, if you want the ice cream, well, what kind of ice cream do you want? What would make that ice cream even better? And now can you eat it slowly and savor it?
Suddenly I've become hungry and horny at the same time. That's extraordinary. Now, Aisha, what was that? I'm getting a note here.
And can I just say also that this is so much more than just about like the superficiality of
Don't worry,
sex.
I've got I was getting onto that. You didn't have to write that down.
But pleasure actually has loads of great benefits for us. So it improves our cognition, it improves our relational bonds, it increases our immune response. It does so many great things. So it's not just about feeling good. It's really about like making our whole body healthy and well.
Yep. It's amazing. Now, Aisha, we had in here maybe 18 months, 2 years ago, Miss Nude World. She was no bigger than Sue. She was Miss. She was on, what's that? You think I'm making this up, that I can't remember the name. It's on, what's the sex channel thing that you look up?
OnlyFans?
No. The real Triple X. What? Pornhub. Yeah. She came in here and she was won the title. I don't know, Miss Nude World, and
wow.
she was a charming little girl. She was a little girl here. Well, some of the things, and I said to her, how do you prepare yourself for anal sex? And she said, well, that's a very good question. She said, not many people ask you that. I said, well, I presume you have anal sex. She said, oh, yes. She said, no, that's part of the deal. Sometimes I have 2 or 3 people have anal sex with me at the same time. I said, really? I said, that's extraordinary. Anyhow, she said she has to douche herself in coffee or have an enema of coffee or something. I don't know. So this seems to be the new, when I was... I don't know if you know how old I was. Sort of active and going pretty good in the 60s of last century, and I don't think anal sex didn't seem to come up a lot with the people I spoke to anyhow. And I went out with, I said, would you like me to stick this up your bum, would you? And they said, what? So I've never had that conversation. This seems to be the draw card of today's sex, that women just would rather have it up their bottom. And
I mean, not just women.
Yeah, no, I understand that, because there's no other place men can do it except up their bottom.
No, but even straight men like to be penetrated in their ass.
Yes, but by a woman's fingers, because you can't do it any other way.
Yes, you can.
Oh, put a dildo up there. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, or women can wear a strap on.
Oh, and fuck the men while they're fucking them.
Totally.
Oh.
And
I'm going to have to listen to this over
but
several
I
times
say,
when this is finished.
People think it's so radical to have anal sex.
Yep.
But there's actually erectile tissue inside of the anus.
Yep.
So our bodies were created so that the anus was pleasurable. It's not just a mental thing because it's kinky and it's taboo. It's like it really is pleasurable. And for women, if they're being penetrated from their anus, then they're able, from that side, whatever is penetrating them stimulates their cervix, so they can have huge, like mind-blowing
explosive
cervical,
orgasms.
Not explosive.
Oh, sorry.
So the cervix, so the clitoris tends to be more of an explosive orgasm place.
Oh, I see.
And the cervix is somewhere that it tends to be numb in a lot of women. But then when they can, it's called like de-armoring, when they can soften it and bring pleasure back to that area, they can have these long, undulating, like huge tsunami
You're
orgasm.
putting me to sleep. Stop waving. Just stop waving your arms in that. Aisha. I'm not sure that I could handle a man, certainly, because I'm heterosexual. But that doesn't really matter. I'm not sure that I could handle having a giant dildo stuck up my bottom. Maybe I could.
Why is that?
Well, I'll tell you. Just one of the things would be, what happens? Don't you have to prepare? What happens if?
Oh yes.
It's messy. Or
Yes.
how can you suddenly decide, I'll come home with me and I'll stick it up your bottom? How do you know there won't be a whole grisly mess on the sheets? And or don't you have to prepare yourself?
Right. Okay. Great question. And
Thank you.
There's so many myths around sex. Like this is one of the myths.
Myths?
Myths.
Oh, myths.
Myths. Yeah.
Myths. Yep.
Yeah. And so I remember hearing stories, this friend of a friend had anal sex and then got poop all over a white sofa, and just like these terrible stories that go around to scare everyone. But in fact, the reason why someone might... So first of all, the rectum, that last passage before the anus, that generally sits without anything in it unless you need to go to the toilet.
I see.
So it's generally empty, but people like to maybe do a douche or like put their finger up there and just clean it out whilst they're in the shower, just to be a little bit more presentable, to whoever they're having anal sex with. But also, a lot of people are really numb in that area. They don't have feeling, and that's a result of shame, and that's a result of them pulling away and not wanting to acknowledge the fact that they have an anus, the same way that a lot of people walk around not acknowledging that they have genitals. I'm not going to mention the fact that I have genitals, ever, anywhere. And when you start to touch that area and when you start to connect with that area, you bring sensation back. So the health of your anus improves when you have anal sex. And also,
does it?
Yes, and also your control of that area.
Oh, I've just been handed another note. I had that on my list as well. So don't, you can keep giving me notes, but I had that on my list. So here's something you'll laugh at. I told you I was only partially educated, didn't I? I didn't know there was a difference between your anus and your rectum, in that there was only poo was in your anus, but if it wasn't in your rectum, or no. Did I get that wrong?
So your anus is the sphincters, the two sphincters,
yes,
right? It opens to let things out or in.
Yep.
And then behind that, so the passage...
It's your colon.
No, the colon. Oh, no. So you have the rectum and then you have the colon.
Oh, I
okay. See. So, yes.
So, should I ever have a partner that would like to engage in, I could ask her or him or it or they to buy a small dildo and just, or get a carrot or a cucumber and see if you can grease it up and stick it up my bottom and see how I enjoy it. No.
So if you want to start exploring anal sex, the best thing you can do is start by just, when you're in the shower, just taking a finger and just massaging that area.
Really?
Yeah. Because a lot of people hold so much tension there. It's actually a reason why a lot of people have erectile issues. It's because they're holding on to so much tension in their anus.
Yep.
And it's stopping the blood supply through to their genitals. So first, you just want to start like relaxing this area, getting in touch with it, seeing if a finger is welcome inside.
Oh, a welcoming finger.
Yes, a welcoming finger. And then... if you want to go and explore it with someone else, well, first of all, I would suggest that everyone... Do you want this much detail?
I'm hanging on every word here.
Great,
this is going to be a renaissance to my life here.
So what I would suggest...
I'm going to scout out after this and see if I can find someone who'll do all this to me.
There are some things that you need in order to be available in your body for pleasure. And one of them is safety. And the bottom, because it's behind us and also because of all of our shame about it, can feel very threatening to have someone go there. And actually, I'm just going to admit that when I was going through my training and I was getting into all of this stuff, I used to
have a welcoming finger.
I used to tease one of my lovers by like going towards their bottom, just like during the day and stuff, and or maybe in bed, whatever. And they were really not interested. And I thought that, they actually did tell me that I did lots of great things to open them up sexually, and they were very, very grateful. But I realized that actually was closing down their opportunity to move towards anal pleasure, because there was someone trying to like invade that very, very, very private space. So I just want to add a note like that: if you are someone who wants to explore anal sex and you have a partner, it's better to talk with them about what they would be open to. Like, for instance, starting with a bottom massage.
Yes.
Just doing a bottom massage can help people to relax this area, to remember there's pleasure there, and for it to feel more possible and welcoming later down the road to explore anal sex. But so you want to feel safe, and if you're wanting to try anal sex or penetration with someone, I suggest lying on your back. So you can see
who's lying on their back?
The person who's being penetrated.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, lie on your back, because a lot of people think they need to turn over. But then you can't see, and you have less control, and the other person can't see how you're responding to what's happening. And this area is so sensitive. That's why it feels so good. But also, it means you can go from...
take your word for it.
Yeah,
I haven't done it yet.
There's still time.
What's the time? Yeah, no, it won't be long. So that's so.
And
so many things I was just unless I write them down, I can't remember what I was going to ask you.
Sam, one last tip.
Yep, no.
Which is that for a lot of people, one of the ways they can more quickly become satisfied by anal sex is to combine penis or clitoral stimulation at the same time as they're like stimulating the anus. It helps to link the two.
So is anal sex? Is it deleterious? That is it risky for your health, or for does your bottom get so big it can't hold in what it's meant to hold in, or is that just all? That's just all.
No, I told you it improves anal health.
Does it?
Improves, yeah. As long as you feel safe and you're relaxed whilst it's happening, and you're able to moderate what's happening, and you take things slowly, then yes. And also, if people want to get started and they're solo, or they want to get started privately before they bring it to their partner, another great thing to do could be like having an anal plug.
Yeah, and getting a very large jar of lube.
And yes, lube is vital for the anus.
Vital.
Yeah.
Couldn't get enough of it, I wouldn't reckon.
It's not self-lubricating like our genitals.
No, not at all.
Yeah, so what's great there is...
did you say an anal plug?
An anal plug, yeah.
So that's obviously a plug that you stick up your bottom.
Yes.
Just walking around in casual civilian life.
No, you can do that. People do that. They find it fun and kinky and pleasurable. But to start off, just say if you're self-pleasuring, if you're masturbating, also just having the plug there and sort of going from both sides at the same time.
So Aisha,
just nudging it. Less is more.
Aisha,
less is more.
In case you've just in your car and you've just tuned into this, Aisha is a somatic sexologist, and she tells you how you can get in touch with your body. And it says here, this is the other thing, it says you are a hands-on sex coach.
Yes.
That's
hands-on and hands-in when appropriate and requested by the client.
Moving on to this section of what we're chatting about, who are predominantly your main clients? Young people, old people, incontinent people with their prostate out, people who are trans, people who are bi. Who are your main clients?
I see all of those people. My eldest client was 82. My youngest client was 14, but I just did sexual counselling with them. I don't do any coaching for people who are under 18. I don't do any body work for anyone under 21. But I haven't, niched down to say I'm only working with women, or I'm only working with men, or only working with couples, because this area is so under-supported, and the issues between the different demographics are interrelated. And I'm very curious about that. And so I see, a whole range of people. And the method, the somatic method, the body-based method is applicable across different issues. So it's not like the treatment model. Okay, so you have you have an issue, and then you have a set of practices that you do, or treatments that are followed. No matter the person's unique situation, you just go through and you do that, and it either works or it doesn't work.
So Aisha, hands-on. So you might be retained by a client, a woman, who might say, could you come along, and I got my husband or my boyfriend here, could you show me what I should be doing to him? And then you go to work on him, hands on, and you rub his agates and you rub his dick and you put your hand up his bottom, and she says, wow, and he seems to be enjoying it, and she says, don't come again, but thanks very much for the tip. Is that how, do you have people that want you to do that, show them how to do it?
Yeah.
Do you
So I only do touch for clients learning, healing, or discovery, okay?
What other areas could there be?
Well,
say I was a client.
Well, if you were someone who you didn't really have an issue you wanted to work on specifically, you didn't want to understand why something was going on, you just wanted to have a pleasurable experience, then you go to a tantrika, you go for a tantric massage, you go to a sex worker. So one of the big differences between me and those
what
sorts
is the
of
big difference?
I wear gloves if I'm doing touch.
Yes.
So it's not my skin, my touch that's arriving with them, and that helps it to stay more about them. I don't take clients to orgasm unless they have an issue with orgasm. So if they can't orgasm, we may go to orgasm in the session, but otherwise we don't go to orgasm. It's not a goal.
Isn't it? I would think that would be the main goal for someone who who invites your expertise to come, and a woman or a man might say, gee, I find it hard to ejaculate, and a woman might say, I've never ejaculated, and you say, well, let me, sir, show you how you could get your wife or your partner to ejaculate, and you get the gloves out and you go to town.
Okay, absolutely not.
Not.
So with this, the biggest thing to understand is that the reason why, say I have 5 women who come and they have anorgasmia, they can't orgasm, they've never orgasmed in their life.
Yes.
There's going to be 5 different reasons.
Is there?
Yeah. And there are some things that I can teach them, like the orgasm arc that I spoke about with safety and relaxation and knowing how their genitals work and how they like to be touched. And then there are going to be underlying issues that are held in the body. The body is the physical manifestation of our subconscious mind. So if we've picked up that we're too much, we may be afraid of letting our bodies go into orgasm, into that place of spontaneity and the unknown and great expression. Or if we feared our sexual body as a woman, we may not allow ourselves to feel what's going on down there, and so we can't orgasm. We may have been told that our vagina's disgusting and shameful, and so we have that association going on the whole time we're having sex, and we can't find our pleasure.
I see. You get intimidated by it.
Yeah, totally. So when clients come, I connect them to their body. I teach them how to listen to their bodies so they can discover, with me there guiding them and as a witness, what's going on.
Love their vagina.
Yeah, totally. And we do they'll look at their vagina with a mirror, you know. We'll talk about it, and in there's an ancient practice, the Kadoshka tribe, and they say that depending on how your genitals look, it tells you different things about your personality and what your gifts are in life, and so we find ways of bringing more positive association.
I've been handed another message. I'm going to see if I had it written down again. I won't read it out. Have you... no, I have got that written down. I actually have got that written down. So you're on the same page, both of you, but I actually have that written down. So people, well,
I'm just loving the interest.
Oh,
yeah. It's so nice. It's
fantastic. Yeah. So a thing in the States was that in this woke society that was there probably before Donald Trump became the next president, because we've got things back on an even keel. Pedophiles were described by people who are pedophiles as minor attracted people. You couldn't believe it. That you're a pedophile, and they said, no, we're not pedophiles, we're just attracted to people who are under 14 or something. And they say, so do you have, what range of people come and see? Would you deal with someone who says they're a minor attracted person? That is not the minor, but the person who says they're interested in children. Or you'd say, hey mate, you're in the wrong area here.
So
or a woman. Yep.
Yeah. So I've never had that happen, but if a client came to me with that, they would probably come to me with that because they know that it's an issue, that it's not something that they want to act upon. And so I might do work with them to help them understand the symbolic nature of that desire and where it comes from, because our sexuality is linked to our childhood, to our core wounds. The idea is that erotically we're attracted to situations where we can replay our greatest hurts in life and have a different outcome.
Yeah. Please don't think, because 99% of the people you see are pretty sensible. You probably get the freaks. Does anyone ever come and ask you how they could have sex with their pet or an animal or something? No.
Honestly,
I know that. I know you think. I'm not trying to be. I'm just saying.
No. But it's a good point.
I've seen women having sex with their animal. You can see it on that porn. Well, why would I be watching Pornhub? But you can see it. I did look it up Pornhub when I was going to interview that woman. But they want to have their dogs to have sex with them, and you think, is that natural? Is that experiencing? What did you say here? Let me just experiencing every day the experiences of your body. No, that's not what that's the wrong one. The profound expression of being in your body. Is that letting your dog have sex with you? No, it's not.
What I'm talking about
have you ever had anyone ask you about that?
No. And actually, no one's ever. I was so worried when I did this training. I was like, how do I keep myself safe? I was actually worried, anyone's going to come through the door. I'm doing hands-on touch with them. Why aren't, I'm very vulnerable and I could be assaulted.
Yeah, I could understand that.
Yeah, and I tell you, and a lot of women who train in this field won't work with men for that reason.
Yep.
I have the loveliest clients. I'm not screening them in some extreme way. They're just arriving and they're just wonderful, because to bring this to me is so vulnerable. It takes a certain kind of person,
Yeah, you should be proud that they would want to come and be educated by you.
Yeah, I always tell them I'm so proud of them.
A woman, I said this yesterday, if a woman's ever going to have sex with an animal, it should be with a horse, because at least when it's over, you'll get a ride home.
I like that.
No, I like that. So what about the people, I wonder why I'm asking this, people who have men who have their prostate out. I don't know if you've had many clients who've had their prostate out, but when you get your prostate out, let me tell you, that's your libido and your sex drive can just drop to nothing, and you can usually hit men in the crotch with an anvil and it won't even register on the Richter scale. How do you handle people who have their prostate out and are wanting to become sexually active again without taking plenty of recreational or prescription drugs?
Yeah. Okay, so when the prostate's removed, there are two types of surgeries. One is nerve sparing.
Yep.
And one isn't.
Yes, I understand.
And so
I do understand, because I've had my prostate out.
Yeah,
so I had
know.
nerve sparing. I had the robot, and they said we had preserved the nerves.
Great.
Yes.
And then they gave you a rehabilitation plan?
Not at all.
Oh,
what would that be?
Okay, so in the UK, they get given a rehabilitation plan.
Like what?
So it's a combination of hormones, to begin with, and a penis pump.
Yeah, no, I was offered an injection where you stick a needle in your dick.
Yeah.
Or you stick a needle in your penis.
Penis pump and injection are two different things.
Yes, I know that.
Yeah,
Yep,
okay.
Yep.
So yes, those are two different.
I wouldn't. If I have to pump my dick up or stick a needle in it to have sex, that I'm not. I just wouldn't do that.
Okay.
How'd you be if you got your partner?
No, I get it completely.
And you got your partner home and they're on the satin sheets, you say, just a minute. Then you strap on this thing and you go, shh, 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 and your dick swells up. You say, right, quick now, bang, get the lube, boom, in. Or get an injection out. And how can that be pleasurable or intimate?
Yeah, I agree. And actually...
Do you?
Yeah, no, I do. And that's a lot of what clients say. They say, I don't want to do the injection, or I've been using the pump, but it's not giving me the results that I want. But I have to say that part of the issue isn't just, like, people think, and men specifically think, I've had this operation, now I've just lost my libido. And the truth is that actually men who've had their prostates removed have, like, much more intense orgasms than guys who haven't. Did you know that? I hear that again and again and again.
Let me. You're speaking to.
Totally. Tell me about it.
Speaking to a client here.
Tell me about it.
I can't. More intense orgasm when nothing. You're obviously a dry blower.
Yeah.
How can that be?
But it's a sensation.
It's a sensation.
Is it feel the same for you? Before and after?
In the 4 times I've done it, I'm okay with it, but I wouldn't say it's an intense experience like it used to be. I've never thought of that.
That's what I hear.
It's a very interesting discussion. That I'm very happy to discuss it. I'm not. I wouldn't say it's been heightened since I've had my prostate out at all.
Okay. Well, I guess
that's all right.
Everybody's different. Yeah, exactly.
That's why they come and see. Maybe if I was your client, no, I'm just saying this hypothetically. If I was your client, I might come along and say, "Now, Aisha, I'm having trouble experiencing the climactic experience that I used to when I had my prostate." Yeah. "Well, Sam, let me tell you, have you been doing this?" I said, "No, I haven't." "Have you tried this?" I said, "No, as a matter of fact, I haven't." "Have you had that welcoming finger? Have you put that up your bottom?" "No, in fact, man, I could. How much do you charge? How much? What are your rates?" It's a serious question. Someone has flown you out here for haven't they? A client has flown you out here up the sharp end of the plane?
Yeah.
And how did that come about? Did they say, "Aisha, I need you to fly out"? Who is your client? Is your client a single man or woman? Is it a heterosexual man or woman? It was a couple of who flew you out here? What sort of person have flown you out here to oversee their sexual life?
Okay, well, my client's confidentiality
of course.
Is obviously like the most important thing about my work.
I don't want to know their names or where they live.
But I'll tell you generally, I'm working with, in this way, with retreats, I'm either working with couples.
Yes. Same-sex couples?
Either.
No, but specifically you came out here.
I'm not going to tell you specifically who I came out.
No, hang on, Aisha. As if I want you to tell me specifically. Were you asked to come out here for a same-sex couple, a heterosexual couple, a trans? That's all I'm asking. How in the hell would we know who we're speaking about?
Okay, fine. For a man. Yes. Who was a professional at a high level.
Yeah, I don't even need to know that, but he is a man, and was a heterosexual. Now he's moved on to being a no. What's he want you to come out for to do?
But I can't tell you that.
Why can't you?
I can't. That's part of my confidentiality.
But I have no idea who you're talking about.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't it?
So you had a. I'm very, very clear. For me, if I'm with friends and I have to go meet a client, I'm going to talk about they. I need to go, if I'm referencing the client, I won't even mention the gender. In all of my supervision sessions, I have a supervisor. I don't tell them the client's name. There are many levels to confidentiality, and my duty of care is so high.
I'm not being mischievous. I'm not seriously.
Well, I'm not asking me specific questions.
But that's not a specific question.
It is a specific question.
No, but I'm genuinely, not generally, genuinely interested. You have been flown out here, first class.
Well, let's talk generally about when I'm flown out to do a retreat.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Generally, I'm asking you what person, not who they are, what their job is, what
sort of person.
What sort of person flew you out for advice on what? How to become more sexually active, how to approach someone, how to do something differently. What are you specifically out here for in Australia to do? Yes. Without mentioning any names or any... That's a very general question.
I was here to do sex coaching, of course.
And what did the person want you to teach them or to coach them to do?
They wanted to learn about consent.
Yes.
Yeah. They wanted to learn how to ask for what they want.
Yes.
How to put themselves first. These are all very, very common
things.
things.
And this was privately, not while their partner or whoever they're asking?
Privately.
Yes.
Yeah.
One-on-one.
One-on-one.
Yes.
Yes.
Why are these intrusive questions?
Well,
They're not intrusive. That's just a general question.
I'm giving general answers. Yeah.
Well, then that's what I want you. I would never ask you to. What would I say?
It's very sensitive for
Yes,
me,
it was Stan Swanson. He lives in 52.
No, but Sam, you have to understand.
Railway Parade, and I'm going around there now, and Stan's just. I don't want to know any of that.
Sam, you have to understand that, like, for people to come and do this work with me,
Yes.
they are putting themselves at social risk. This is not work that a lot of people are okay with clients coming and doing. Even with me being in this role, I face a lot of stigma.
Do you?
Yes, I do. I can't get an office where I want to have an office in London because it's the work that I do. It is a big...
Really?
Yes, it's an issue.
But you're accredited.
I am accredited.
Well,
but still, people do not like the idea that I am a hands-on sex coach. They don't understand it. They don't understand it. It's all about ignorance.
I can give you some space out the back here this warehouse.
Thank you. It's very kind of you.
You're welcome to use this as an office here. I'll look through the window.
It's not quite the interior I'd usually go for.
No, I'm Aisha, please. This is a. And so now, what is your? Can you understand men wishing to transition into being women and cutting? What can you understand that? And vice versa. Similarly, can you understand women wishing to remove their breasts and try and take hormones so they can grow a beard? And this is just an extension of their sexual activity and sexual life, or is this something else going on?
I mean, this is an identity piece, no?
Yes, that's right. Well,
yeah.
Well, do you see people who have transitioned and want to?
Have I seen anyone who's transitioned? I don't. I've not seen an individual who's transitioned. I've worked with someone who
is thinking of it.
Actually, that's interesting. I worked with I've worked with a few non-binary people who have been contemplating or exploring the idea of transitioning.
Not pansexuals, non-binary.
Non-binary.
There's a difference.
Non-binary is the third gender.
Yeah,
so
but that, yeah.
So
there's no such thing, of course. But go on.
And
no, go on.
Yeah. And I've also worked at events and done workshops for this particular crowd. But I haven't done a lot of one-to-one work because those people, they want to be with practitioners who similarly identify. They want to feel like met inside of that struggle where a lot of people don't understand them. And because I don't speak about that a lot, even though I do feel that I understand, I may not be that myself, but having struggled with my body so intensely, I can understand a desire to relieve themselves of that struggle.
Doesn't matter what your answer is, incidentally, but do you believe there's more than two genders?
I believe that... Well, I believe that...
if you've got two X chromosomes, you're a female.
Yeah, but
if you've got
sex.
an XY...
Gender is a different piece.
Sex and gender are different animals.
Yes, they are.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I mean, literally like the definition of them, they're different.
Well, sex, I mean, what sex are you? You a man or a woman?
Yeah, that's obviously very clear. Although
that's
you
what
have
I mean
intersex.
By sex. What?
Intersex.
What's that?
Intersex is where someone has part female and part male
that's
genitals.
That's an hermaphrodite.
Yeah, it's 1% of the population.
Yep.
As many people who have red hair are intersex as well.
I understand that. That's that famous South African athlete. I think I can't remember her name. She used to win all the 400 meters women's races, and she was banned. She was banned, and it was through no fault of her own. She had male genitals and female womb and something.
Wow.
So Castra. She was a famous case, and she was stopped running in the Olympics, and she wasn't trying to buck the system. She just was neither one, and so she had an obviously unfair advantage because she had male genitals and a female womb or something. Casta Semenya, her name was Casta Semenya. Anyhow, yeah. So how did we get onto that? So do you think there's more than two genders or sexes? More than two sexes?
More than two? Yes,
sex.
There's intersex, isn't there? So there's at least three.
We're talking about sex. No, I'm not talking about the physical act of sex. I'm talking about
The chromosomal
sex
composition.
of your body is either you're a female or a male. There is, surely, you don't dispute that.
I don't dispute science.
Yes. Well, that should be the end of that discussion.
Okay.
That's what people want to identify as. It's fine, and
Exactly.
you'll think I get accused of being homophobic and transphobic only because I have these conversations. I'll just not asking your opinion. I am. Do you think it's okay for men to pretend they're women and then engage in women's sport? No, how stupid is that? No, don't get onto that. So I tell you what, Aisha, you're a star. You're a star because this has been fascinating conversation, and I want to know. And now this is, I'm sure I could find this on your website, so this is not intrusive.
Sure.
What you do well out of this fiscally?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, and so if I rang you up and said, Aisha, my name is Sam. I know I need a bit of help there. How do we go about this, and what are your rates? What do you charge? Not the person you came out?
Totally. So at the moment, if someone wanted to do a day with me in London or online, it would
online or in person?
Online or in person in London.
Yes.
For one day.
Yes.
So this is like a mini retreat.
Yes.
It's £1,650 or £1,700 for a couple.
Yep.
And then if it's multi-days, then there's a 25% premium. And if it's abroad, there's an additional 25% premium. And then the flights and the accommodation.
Some strange reason, I think that's perfectly reasonable.
Yeah, it
is. Well, I think that's very reasonable.
And honestly, like, people can often be surprised, but no client has ever regretted. Like, they are always astounded by what they get out of it and how many areas of their life it improves as well.
Aisha Paris Smith, you are a star for doing this, and I told you I was only basically educated, so a lot of these have been pretty naive and stupid questions, but I felt comfortable asking them because I'm just a simple man. We have been watching and listening to Aisha Paris Smith, who is a somatic sexologist. Sexologist doesn't appear in the dictionary, but I now know what it is. It's probably the same as a therapist. It's probably not. And she is an ACSB. I have no idea what that means. She's accredited, and she is a fantastic person. And thank you so much for coming into You Cannot Be Serious, Aisha.
Thank you, Sam.